Hey guys, just before this video starts, I'd just like to say thank you for showing all the love you did on the last video. If you enjoy the following video, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
And that being said, have a great day and enjoy. Alright, what's going on guys? It's your boy Eclipse and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I'm just going to be showing you guys what I like to use for the XM4 class setup for Black Ops Cold War. This class setup is mainly based around hardcore gameplay, but if you do play core, then I will show you what to be using for that instead of the hardcore version of this class setup. So starting off, of course we are going to be using XM4 for this video. This is just a gun that I like to use and I think is probably the best AR, if not the best gun to ever hit Black Ops, period. So, starting off with our optic, straight away I like to go with the Microflex LED. That's only just because it gives you a wider space to be able to see your reticle over the miller stop and the quick dot LED. I just find they're a bit too bulky and you don't really get as much of a wide angle to be able to see enemies inside the scope as well as outside the scope. It does have a 1.25 times magnification, which doesn't really change a whole lot, to be honest. It's just a nice sight, I prefer it, but you can change yourself whatever sight you find is best or whatever sight you prefer to use. Moving on to our muzzle, I do like to use a suppressor. That's just me personally. I don't like to be seen on the map, I don't like to be heard on the map, so that's what I like to use. If you're not going to use a suppressor, then I'd suggest swapping it out for the SOCOM Eliminator, which gives you a muzzle boost concealment as well as some vertical recoil control. And the reason I'm saying to use this over anything else is because it gives you the vertical recoil control. This gun does beam without it, but using this will help your aim ever so slightly. Moving on to the underbarrel, I like to go for the SFOD speed grip. That's just because it gives you the horizontal recoil, just to make up for where you lose it on the last attachment that I showed you, as well as the sprinting moving speed. So it's sort of like running around with an SMG instead of an AR, just lets you move around on the map a little bit more quickly. I like to use it because I'm quite an aggressive player, and if I am playing aggressively, I want to be able to run quite quick as well. So moving on to our handle, I do like to use the airborne elastic wrap, and that's just simply because of the aim down sight speed time is much higher than all of the rest, as well as the flinch resistance. I don't play core, so that's not really much use for me, but if you are playing core, still use this because that flinch resistance is going to help you, as well as the aiming while going prone. I mean, it doesn't really appeal to me, I don't use it, it's just an extra added pro that you can have on your weapon. The cons for it are that you do lose some shooting movement speed, so you are going to lose what you gained from your foregrip, which is a shame, but it's still good to be using this one. I'd highly suggest using the airborne elastic wrap. The sprint to fire time, you do lose 15% of your sprint to fire time, but that is where we move on to our stock, which is the radar pad, which is going to give you 30%, so you're still 15% up compared to where it would be stock. As well as some aiming and walking movement speed, so if you're aiming around a corner you can walk a little bit faster just so you're not moving around the corner so slowly, which will hopefully give you a bit more of an advantage over the people that you're trying to kill. So that's why I like to use the XM4, simply just that gun alone, that is how I like to have it. But we're going to go through the entire class, which is all going to show you the secondary I like to use. I don't use a secondary, so it's quite simple for me. I just like to use a knife because you can run around quickly with it. If you do want to use a secondary, you can use whichever secondary you want. This class setup does not use the double primary weapon, so any secondary you want. So most people will go for a street sweeper just because that thing is like a hand cannon. So if you want to use a secondary, you can use a street sweeper or any gun of your choosing for this secondary weapon slot. Personally, I just stick with a knife because I don't use it. So moving on to our tactical, I use a stun grenade. I don't play core, so if you're going to be playing core, I'd suggest using a stim shot, just because you will get in those situations where you'll barely just win a gunfight, and you'll want to be healing up. So having a stim shot is definitely good if you're going for high kill to death ratios, or if you're trying to go for nuclears. I'd highly suggest sticking with a stim shot, just because that is going to help you massively along your way to getting a high KD ratio. If you're going to be playing hardcore, stim shot's useless. Most guns are a one-hit kill, so use something that's instead is going to actually be useful. I like to stick with stun grades, just because the flash grenade, you can still look around quite easily whilst flashbanged, whereas a stun stops the enemy from being able to turn so quickly, aim, or do pretty much anything unless they are using tactical mask, which most people in hardcore don't really use, and more flat jacket users. Moving on to our lethal, I like Semtexes just because I am quite good when it comes to throwing grenades. I can be very accurate of where I throw a grenade, and with frag grenades I don't want it rolling away from the area I've thrown it into. I want it to be able to stick to exactly where I've thrown it, so that I can get the best accuracy on killing an enemy. If you're not so great with throwing grenades and it's something you just like to throw before you run into a gunfight, then maybe stick to a frag, just because you've got a pretty good chance of hitting someone with it if you do throw one around the map somewhere. So go ahead and use a frag if you're not so good with grenades. If you're a decent player and you know how to use a grenade and stick it somewhere where you really want it to be to get the best effect and kill as many enemies as possible, stick with a Semtex. If you're playing hardcore, if you're playing domination on hardcore, or playing hardcore on hardcore, can use a Molotov, but to be honest they're pretty useless in both types of game modes, core and hardcore. Moving on to our perks, we will be using perk read here actually as our wildcard, I should mention, so we will be having 2 of each perk. So with our first 2 perks, straight away I go flak jacket and tactical mask, just simply because I don't like dying to grenades and I don't like being stunned. I want to be able to run around the map and only be in gunfights. If someone's going to be able to kill me before I kill them, I want it to be by a gun, not a grenade, and not because they flashed me and I couldn't see anything. I don't like playing like that. I prefer, if I'm going to die to something, I want it to be a fair gun battle where I had just as much chance to kill them as they had to kill me, and not by a rogue flashbang or a rogue frag that's just flown over a wall and hits me in the face. So I stick with flak jacket, tactical mask. If you're not going to be playing domination or hardpoint, something like that, you'll be playing team deathmatch, then you can go ahead and stick engineer on if you're just going for straight points or for straight XP. And then paranoia, I don't really think is useful in any way whatsoever. It's a completely useless perk. And then forward intel can be good for some people like to use it, some people don't. I don't on this class setup, so that's why we've gone for flak jacket and tac mask. Moving on to our second perks, I use assassin just because I don't want to be seen by anyone's kill streaks. If for some reason my team's not doing so well, or I'm not doing so well, and for that reason the other team's been able to get a chopper gunner or a VTOL or anything like that, I don't want to be able to be seen by it and get absolutely destroyed off my spawn and spawn killed the whole game. So I always use assassin. For my second, I like to use gearhead, and that is because my field upgrade is always a SAM site. I actually forgot to mention what field upgrade we were using, but it will be a SAM site just because it helps getting rid of UAVs, counter UAVs, and even bigger score streaks like helicopters, VTOLs, chopper gunners, and gunships. And gearhead is just great in general. It helps you get your score up. If it's taking down UAVs and counter UAVs all game with your SAM site, it will just rack up tons of points where you're not even getting kills, and you can gain your kill streaks via using this perk and the SAM site. So I'd highly suggest, if you're playing something like domination or a long kill game like kill confirmed, then definitely stick with gearhead. It will help you massively throughout your gameplay, I assure you. When it comes to perk 3, a lot of people use Gung Ho over Ninja just because it helps when you're sliding around corners, or if you're jumping around corners or trying to use equipment quite quickly. Gung Ho is pretty much the go-to. Personally, I love having Ghost on. I don't like being seen, like I mentioned before, that's why I use the Silencer. I don't like to be seen, I don't like to be heard. If I'm going to be getting to a fight, I want as much of an advantage as possible. So I stick with Ghost, And then for my second, third perk, I always stick with Ninja. I do have a very, very good headset, so I don't like to be able to hear my own footsteps stomping around. I'd like to be able to hear theirs. So I like to be nice and quiet. I don't want them to be able to hear me, and if they do hear me, I want to be able to hear them first. So that's why I use Ninja. So that is my class. I will be showing after this another video will be shown with me actually using this class and just how absolutely unbelievable this gun can really be. It does absolutely decimate in hardcore as well as in core. Doesn't matter which game mode you're playing, what situation you're in, this gun will beat most guns point blank or at long range. It doesn't matter if they're using an LMG or an SMG, 99% of the time you will beat them with this gun if you've got the correct accuracy and the correct attachments on it. So look out for that video. I will be posting that tomorrow, and if you are interested and you want to see that, then please do subscribe. If you liked this class setup or if you liked the video in general, drop it a like. If you didn't, please drop it a thumbs down and tell me possibly what it could have been that you didn't like about it, and hopefully I can use that as a bit of information to improve my videos and improve my channel in general. So like I say, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace out.